Hello students, and once again you are welcome to a maths class. Over the time you've learned interesting things about mathematics, and it is time to just go and look at another very interesting and important topic in mathematics. So in this video we'll be looking at how to plot graphs of linear equations. And of course, that also means graphs of straight line equations. So basically, a linear equation is an equation in which the variables have an index or power of 1. In other words, in this equation, the variables are not expected to have a power of say 2. So we don't have anything here like x squared or y squared or x cubed or y cubed. We only have x, y, and the likes, no squares and no cubes. That is how you can identify a linear equation. If you have an equation and you have anything like x squared or y squared, then such an equation is not a simple linear equation. So basically, a linear equation is usually in the form of y is equal to mx plus c. Y equal to mx plus c. Now, in a linear equation, y equal to mx plus c, the variable y is regarded as the dependent variable. And this is because its value depends on the value of x. And x, on the other hand, is referred to as the independent variable. This is because its values is not dependent on any other variable. So basically, m and c in this equation are both regarded or referred to as constants. So you have the equation y equal to mx plus c. Y and x are called variables, while m and c are called constants. So please take note of those 2 points. Now let's also look at how to plot a straight line or linear graph. Let's say, for example, you are expected to draw the graph of the equation y equal to minus 2x plus 2 for values of x from minus 1 to plus 1. Now, when we say for values of x from minus 1 to plus 1, we mean that you are expected to use different values of x. Now, remember that we said that x is the independent variable. So we are having different values of x, and we are going to use those different values of x to determine what the values of y will be. And you are given a range of values to use. So the range of values for x that you are going to use in this question is from minus 1 to 1. By that we mean minus 1, 0, and plus 1. So it should not go below minus 1. We don't need minus 2. And it should not go beyond plus 1. That is what we mean by a range of values from x from minus 1 to plus 1. If you are told to use values of x from minus 2 to plus 2 or minus 2 to plus 3, it means that you are going to have table of values for where x is minus 2, minus 1, 0, 1, and 2. This we are going to see as we go further. And secondly, you are expected to find the x-intercept and the y-intercept. You are going to learn more about them by the time we get there. So in the equation y equal to minus 2x plus 2, remember from what we said, m is equal to, from what we have here, if you look at the equation very well and comparing it with the equation we had earlier where we said y equal to mx plus c, if you look at it very well, the number of minus 2 in that equation occupies the value of m. So m is equal to minus 2. And 2, that is plus 2, occupies the value of c in this equation. So c is equal to plus 2. And remember we said that m and c are both constants, while y and x are variables. So we are going to use this equation to find values of y. Now to plot a graph, first thing to do is to make a table of values. So how do you make a table of values? First of all, you have a table. The equation is that y is equal to minus 2x plus 2. So what you do, arrange the factors you have in this equation in lines like this. First of all, you start with the independent variable, which is x at the top. Then looking at the equation, we have minus 2. So you put the independent variable, which is x, at the top, and you put the dependent variable, which is y, at the bottom. And then the other two factors where we have minus 2x and then plus 2, you also arrange them in this form. Having arranged them in this form, remember that the question says you are to use values of x from minus 1 to plus 1. That is minus 1, 0, and 1. So you are expected to arrange them as you can see there, the line highlighted green. Those contain the range of values of x. Now, the next step, the next line, when you see after minus, you have minus 2x. Now, how do you know what should be below minus 1 in this table? In the second column we have there, x is equal to minus 1. So minus 2x will mean minus 2 times minus 1, which is equal to 2. And that is why we have 2 under minus 1. In the next column, you are told that x is equal to 0. So minus 2x will mean minus 2 times 0, which is 0. That is why you have 0 and the first black spot under the 0 in the green spot. Now in the last column, where x is equal to 1, minus 2x will mean minus 2 times 1, which is equal to minus 2. And that is why you have minus 2 there. Now, looking at the second black aspect, the second row where we have blacks, for the part where you have plus 2 in the red box, inasmuch as there is no variable attached to it, you are expected to write plus 2 all through the black spots. Now, having made the table of value in this form, what you are expected to do to get the values in the blue boxes, you are expected to add up the values you have in the black boxes. Now, looking at the second column, you have 2 and then plus 2. So 2 plus 2 gives us 4. which is the 4 we have on the first blue box. Then for the next blue box, 0 plus 2 gives you 2. That is why we have 2 in the second blue box. For the last blue box, add up the numbers in the black boxes. You have minus 2 plus 2. Now minus 2 plus 2 is going to give us 0. And that is why we have 0 in the third blue box. So what this table means is that when x is minus 1, y is equal to 4. When x is 0, y is equal to 2. And when x is 1, y is equal to 0. So you're expected to use this information to plot a straight line graph. And you have been taught how to plot a straight line graph before, so you employ that knowledge here. You draw the Cartesian plane and then you plot the graph. Now when you do that, you have your graph looking like this. When you mark out the spots, you use your ruler to connect the points. Now it is important to note that for this topic, if you are able to identify 2 points on the graph, that should be enough for you to have the straight line. So if you plot your graph correctly, you have your graph looking this way. And the next question says, find the x-intercept. Now, when we say find the x-intercept, it's simple. What we are simply saying is, look at this graph and look at where the straight line cut the x-axis. And if you look at this graph very carefully, you will see that the straight line cuts the x-axis at the point where x is equal to 1. And so our x-intercept is 1, that is x is equal to 1. The next part says, find the y-intercept. Now, what is the y-intercept? It's simple. The y-intercept is also the point where the blue line cuts the y-axis. And if you look at that very carefully, the blue line, that's our straight line, cuts the y-axis at the point where y is equal to +2. So our y-intercept is equal to 2. That is y is equal to 2. So that is basically, my friend, how to plot straight line graphs. So you take your time to evaluate yourself. First of all, remember what we have said in the earlier parts of the video. What is the formula or the equation for a straight line graph? Remember we said that the equation for a straight line graph is y is equal to mx plus c. How many variables do we have on a straight line graph like this? We have 2 variables, x and y. How many constants do we have? We have 2 constants, m and x. What is the x-intercept? The point where the straight line cuts the x-axis. What is the y-intercept? The point where the straight line cuts the y-axis. So, until the next time we see, I say thank you, and my friend, I say it's a bye from me.